Verbal language is an extremely complicated form of communication, and though other animals can do it, it's pretty safe to say human languages are probably the most complicated and varied ones. Though who's to say African and Asian elephants can understand each other? It's not like we can ask them. So this poses the question, does language matter? The short answer is yes. The long answer is the rest of this video. So ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, let us discuss the significance of gendered language, euphemisms, and sociolinguistics.
While it is true that nighttime devours the day, it is doubly true that every morning the sun returns to frighten away the cowardly darkness.
Now, I'm not here to tell you the English language is perfect, because nothing ever is. Words come in and out of use as norms change, and slang changes from generation to generation. Recently, politically correct language has caused a need to find gender-neutral terms for all sorts of things. Some of this has come in the form of adopting the masculine version for everyone, such as waiter or actor. Others have sprung forth entirely new words. The gender-neutral term for niece or nephew is nibbling, and I have to say I approve. Not that you need my approval. So, newfound existence of gender-neutral language is great. As this tweet so eloquently put it, I am all for the destruction of the gender binary, but I will be continuing to call my cat Mr. Sir Boy Man. Not that he cares much. As we've established, he doesn't know what I'm saying. Preference for the use of gendered language varies from person to person. I, for instance, would not mind being referred to as Mr. Sir Boy Man. However, that is probably not the case for everyone. Some people like masculine terms, others prefer feminine. Some people don't care what you call them, and others would prefer not to be perceived at all. Keeping on the topic of changing language, euphemisms play a pretty significant role in doing that. Our culture tends to avoid talking about anything we deem gross or inappropriate, which covers a surprisingly large amount of things. In order to still talk about those things without actually saying the words, we come up with other things that mean the same thing. Those are euphemisms. One example in my textbook is that we say white meat and dark meat because it's inappropriate to say breast or leg at the table, and I genuinely didn't know that's what white and dark meat meant. I don't eat a lot of meat, as you might be able to tell. There's also this lovely example of cereal names that sound like euphemisms for gay. It is very hilarious. Without euphemisms, English would not be what it is today. There are many terms and phrases that started their existence as euphemisms for something else but ended up becoming the preferred term. One other way that language evolves is through changes in definition, which leads me quite nicely to my next topic, sociolinguistics. So, if I'm talking to you, yes you, one singular you who is watching this video, that's the word I would use. You. Well, that wasn't always the case. Originally, you was plural. The only time it was singular was if it was used to address someone of high status. Everyone else was thou. Slowly but surely, everyone started being addressed with you, and thou became a very rude thing to say. Now, in modern times, the history of you has largely been forgotten. Its definition has changed slightly from its original use, and as I'm sure you're aware, people don't say thou very often. The original use of singular you was to address someone of high status, and we still have things like that today. If you meet someone who you are supposed to treat with respect, they will be introduced with their last name along with a title such as Miss or Mr. These are indicators of what their expectations are for how you speak and act around them. On the other hand, more casual language can be used to show you are comfortable around someone like a friend or family member. Forging bonds in close relationships is made easier with the use of things like inside jokes or nicknames. Would-a-gitch, it-a-giz, would-a-guy, et-a-guy, would-a-gil, fit-a-gil, clit-a-go, sit-a-gur, tit-a-goo, yid-a-goo, et-a-gif, it-a-goo, kid-a-gan, et-a-gun, et-a-gur, stit-a-gan, et-a-gee. Well, of course you could understand me. There were subtitles. My textbook talks about the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which states that language shapes our perception of reality because we think in words. Therefore, our thoughts are restricted to our language. My response to that is, no we don't. I don't know how your brain works, but I don't think in words. I have a thought, some abstract concept in my brain, and then I try to find the words to describe the thought. If humans thought in words, wouldn't that mean people with alexithymia didn't have feelings at all? Alexithymia, by the way, is sometimes described as emotional blindness. It basically means you aren't able to describe your feelings as easily as everyone else. Also, deaf people who have never heard a single word still have thoughts, so how could we possibly think in words? Have you ever tried to say something but you just can't think of the word for it? You've still had the thought, even if you can't describe it. That's because language is just our way of trying to make sense of all the things that go on in our minds. And yes, it matters.